Hello, everybody. This is the African Actions Network radio and television station. I'm glad this day to be here with you once, and we ask that you join us, share the video, and make a comment. And if you want to make any comment, give us a call. We will be glad to hear from you. But once again, we are here, and as the day goes by, we are happy that we are alive and we are amongst the living. So when we find ourselves in a civilized world, we also concerned about other society, like some of the society that some of us came from. If we came from any part of Africa, it is our concern for that continent of Africa and Liberia to be specific. So the African Actions Network radio and television station, we are here because we want to ensure that other society can get better. Now, this morning we have just a specific issue to talk about. And yes, it's all about free speech in Liberia. Yeah, as I said, it's all about free speech. And what is it? Freedom of expression and free speech is guaranteed by the Liberian Constitution. It's also guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution. Under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, free speech is guaranteed. But why do we have to talk about free speech? It's because there was a statement made recently by the U.S. ambassador accredited to Liberia, his own ambassador, His Excellency Ambassador McCarthy. Mr. McCarthy, Ambassador McCarthy, has been very generous to that country since he was appointed and took his position as ambassador to Liberia. He has done extremely well. We must commend him for most of his brilliant ideas and speeches that is helping to better that society. But recent statement, we try to see what we make out of his statement. Ambassador McCarthy, to be specific, we're taking a specific issue, and that is on free speech. He said diaspora Liberians are the ones who are instigating violence in Liberia. Their use of the social media is instigating violence in Liberia. Now, our concern is that Ambassador McCarthy has generalized that statement to say diaspora Liberians. He did not say some diaspora Liberians. He said diaspora Liberians are instigating violence in that country, Liberia. So we're going to be looking at Ambassador McCarthy's statement. We're going to be looking into Liberia. What are some of the violence or some of the things that be happening in that country? Why as Liberians, diaspora Liberians, using social media? What are they doing on social media? What is the impact of their involvement in the governance process in Liberia? We need to look at some of those issues. And perhaps we can advise Ambassador McCarthy at this point and say, look, diaspora Liberians are helping to keep that country stable. Diaspora Liberians are concerned about the human rights violation in that country. Diaspora Liberians are concerned about the unexpected or killings that are unaccounted for. Diaspora Liberians are concerned about the economic condition, the unemployment condition in that country. They are not only getting on social media because they want to see violence in that country. Almost everyone that gets on social media, diaspora Liberians, they know where they come from. The 15 years of civil war, perhaps Ambassador McCarthy is not aware that Liberians, those who are even in the diaspora, they have tested war, the bitterness of war. So none of them, in my view, there might be some. But I think when people are expressing their frustration is because Liberia has been through a lot. And that is why people or Liberian, diaspora Liberians are concerned. That's why they leave almost their resting time and get on social media. It isn't because they want to see war again in that country, but because diaspora Liberians are concerned about the situation in Liberia. They want Liberia to get better. They don't want Liberia to degenerate into a conflict. Because almost every diaspora Liberians get a lover, a son, a daughter, a mother, a grandparent, or some love presence in that country. So I'm not sure I will agree with Ambassador McCarthy on this one. And Ambassador McCarthy would appreciate some of his positions in the past, but indeed we are concerned about happenings in that country, Liberia. So we cannot sit and pretend that all is well in that country. And this is where we think Ambassador McCarthy to have generalized his statement to say diaspora Liberians are fomenting or are instigating violence in Liberia. I think it's an overstatement. I mean, it went too far. So just stay with us, share the video, and we'll be just right back with you in a second. Okay, sorry. Again, we want to be very clear on our position here. Ambassador McCarthy has done extremely well. He has been calling for Liberia to get better. He's been calling on the government to do all they can to maintain peace in the country. And I know when he speaks about diaspora Liberians instigating violence, he himself, I'm not sure Ambassador McCarthy wants to see a violent approach in that country. But we differ with him because when he generalized that Liberians want to foment trouble in that country, I do not agree with Ambassador McCarthy on that. Diaspora Liberians are taking the hardship along with Liberians. Because if a diaspora Liberians will work for, per se, a $1,000 every 2 weeks, a diaspora Liberian is concerned about those who are in that country, the adults who don't have jobs. So they are also happen to keep that country stable just by sending their few resources back home. Diaspora Liberians are concerned about a just and peaceful society of Liberia. Diaspora Liberians are concerned about the unnecessary killing in that country. Diaspora Liberians are concerned about the unemployment rate in that country. Diaspora Liberians are concerned about somebody, a killer, walking into somebody's home and taking innocent lives. And diaspora Liberians want that to stop. Diaspora Liberians are concerned when they sit and watch and listen to the media and listen to the news and get to realize that, look, an auditor or auditors have been killed in their cars. That is not the Liberian, diaspora Liberians knew yesterday. So they are not fomenting trouble, as Ambassador McCarthy would want us to believe. And I think Ambassador McCarthy slipped on this one. To have generalized a statement, let me say this, maybe Ambassador McCarthy may have referenced or wanted to reference, or his statement is referencing the recent statement from Jerome Verdier I'm not saying he because he did not name Jerome Vadia, but let me assume that that's one issue he's making reference to. Nobody in their right mind will think that Jerome Vadia's findings is an end in itself. Jerome Vadia, like any other international organization that do human rights reports and send it out, those reports are not end in themselves. Those report onto a competent court of jurisdiction get to try and find guilty individuals. Those reports are not end in themselves. Jerome Vadia statements, findings, is as good as anyone will want to know the facts that are involved in who went to the former Chief Justice's house and killed that innocent girl. Who did it? Every Liberian, diaspora Liberians are concerned about who killed that innocent girl at the former Chief Justice's house. The police has not given, there's no one that is being caught that is behind bars up to this time. So diaspora Liberians will speak about those issues, not necessarily that they're instigating violence, but they want to know who killed that innocent child. So when diaspora Liberians wake up in the morning, probably early in the morning, leave almost everything they have to do and get on social media, is because they want that society to be better. They want to see a better, just, and democratic society. We all are aware. Now, the statement from Ambassador McCarthy also has a dimension that I want to talk about. Free speech is guaranteed not just in Liberia, but by the United States government, the Constitution of the United States. So to hear that, hey, and Ambassador McCarthy will have to study Liberia very well to get to realize that when those people who are in power are let alone, you know already, you have said the government is corrupt. So let us assume that they were left alone and there was no pressure brought to bear on those individuals. The worst would have happened in that country. So diaspora Liberians want that country to be better, that those who get elected to public offices must do what they need to do to better that society. Ambassador McCarthy, nobody of age 25 years in America is either in college or has some job to do. Unlike Liberia, there are Liberians who are either people in their old age and don't have a single job to keep their lives, to keep their family alive. As a result of those things, there are a lot of problems in the society. So diaspora Liberians are calling on the government to do more to ensure that justice, equality, employment, ensure that that society becomes better. When that society gets better, I will sit in here, my few dollars that I have to send back home will be saved. I will not probably, maybe my credit card died, or my mortgage, or my rental will be paid on time. Somebody will say, well, you don't have to, but it's difficult. When people call from back home, the very Liberian we're talking about, call a diaspora Liberian, my son is sick. I am sick. I have not had food to eat. People will go beyond their means to help. That's what diaspora Liberians are doing. So when they wake up in the morning and get on social media, they want a better society. There might be few unacceptable statements being made by some individuals, but I do not believe that those statements are intended to foment trouble in that country. In my opinion, diaspora Liberians want a free, fair, transparent, democratic process in the country where people can have the opportunity to get jobs, people can live freely, people can move freely, and people can do the same thing that others are doing in America. That's what diaspora Liberians are yearning for: a just and peaceful society, equal opportunity. A violent-free society is what people get on social media for most often in the day or in the nighttime. People are killed in cold blood and there's no report. We are concerned about those kinds of information. And we get on social media is not because we want people to take guns. I'm not sure it was Diaspora Liberian that got even lawmakers going on university campus. No. It was those, now lawmakers, Ambassador McCarthy, look at this. Lawmakers went on the campus of the university. Now there were violence on the campus of the university. I'm not sure because we're sitting here discussing these matters is a means of instigating any violence in our country. People should do the best they need to do when they are heading a government official. Want to show might make right. Don't go there, I will go there. Don't go there, I will go there. And then they get on the campus. And then there's violence. And then everybody should keep quiet. And look at those people that do what they continue to do, like they are doing something good. That's what Diaspora Liberians are frowning on. Ambassador McCarthy, you have to know that not everyone outside of Liberia, Diaspora Liberians are more concerned about a peaceful environment of that society. Some people use their anger of seeing things go maybe by insult, which I do not support, do not support those kinds of means. But I do not think violent approach is a way that people wake up in the morning and want to get on social media. When society is degenerating into the violence that we all against, they need to be told. If people begin to siphon state resources, they need to be told. If people are killing another human being, somebody see another person's child, whether a knife or whatever they use, and starve someone to death. Ambassador McCarthy, think about that. That hurts. You don't have to be in Liberia. You don't have to be a relative of the former Chief Justice. So that there's a need for an immediate investigation and bring the perpetrator to the book. That's what Diaspora Liberians will call for. When people get on social media, that's the first thing they want. Where is the killer? Not necessarily people getting involved or want people to get in violence, but where is the killer? There's a government that is there is an established government, and that is a concern. Now, we are not using this means to condemn Ambassador McCarthy in totality of the issues happening in Liberia. He has done extremely well. He has called for a corrupt-free society, called for democratic government, and people should exercise the freedom of expression. But now, this is an issue that we think we are all concerned about, and I don't think any of us that get on social media can call people to take guns, for example. We all know what guns have done to that country. So I don't think that any diaspora Liberian will be calling for guns or violence. If there's any, hey, even diaspora Liberian will get on the back of those persons who think that way. There are disagreements among social media practitioners. People who get on social media, there are total disagreement among them. Well, that's the democratic space that we have. There's somebody called they should shut down the internet in Liberia. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. You cannot curtail free speech. No, you can't. So it is important that everyone get involved in making sure that a better society is gotten. No one in their right mind should see Liberia degenerating into trouble, into conflict. Like a few days ago at the University of Liberia, look at that university. I went through that university. When I'm watching video like that, Ambassador McCarthy, I don't even just look at the human beings moving around. Look at the ground of the university. Look at the bare ground of the university. And compare it to universities in the US. People don't have eyes to see from the entrance of the university. Look at some of those videos, ignore the violence, and just watch the feet of those people, the ground the people are walking on. There where people get angry. What is happening in that country? Diaspora Liberians are concerned. The University of Liberia, from the entrance of the university to go in front of those buildings, it's like people don't care. You don't have to get quota to put in the places. Use the cement. That entire university, or whatever way you're going to design that place, that's not how the university should be. That should be a free environment, conducive for learning. When those things are not happening, people get on social media, it's all to call on government to do what they're supposed to do. Those who are authority of the University of Liberia, they need to do better than what they are doing. So you call on them, you're not instigating violence. You're just telling people, look, we sit in America, we see what it is. When I went to university here, even the parking lot is well designed. I'm not talking the classrooms, just the parking lot. The road leading to the university, you will know that you have entered the campus of a university. Now, when you see that and you don't see that in Liberia, you want to advocate for people to have such a society. And when you're advocating, sometimes it hurts. The classroom, people still using chalk, right, on blackboards. When in the United States, nobody cares for chalk. People using a whiteboard for lecturers, professors to teach. Is it difficult to have something like that in Liberia? No, it's not difficult. People are just not concerned to do it. And let me tell you, if society will keep quiet, the evil doers will continue to do more evil. And I think this is why people get on social media every time. Jerome Vodio's statement is being widely circulated. I know others may not be happy about it, but that is his account. He said he's done his investigation, and at the right time, Jerome Vodio knows that his disclosures or his findings from whatever investigation he has done, those reports without a competent code of jurisdiction, we will only read them and see them as a finding. But let government contradict those statements that come from Jerome Vodio. Because it is important to know what is happening, why people are dying, under circumstances unexplained. So when people kill people in that country, I think those who are killing people, they are not only instigating violence, but they are inviting war in that country. That's how the 80s were like. Ambassador McCarthy, think about the Samuel Doe regime, how they came to war. When people start killing other people in broad daylight, pretending that nothing happening in the country, Diaspora Liberians cannot take guns to go there, but they have to get on social media. We all have to talk about it. We all have to talk about it. The death of the auditors, Imam Yuswa. I worked with Yuswa before. So when I saw it, I know Yuswa will not. Now, whatever happens, sometimes we ask the hard questions, we don't have answers. You want any information I can explain. Imam Yuswa, as alert as he was, even if he was drunk in his own building, they say he fell from up there, down on the ground. He dies. There must be an investigation in all kind of matters to bring the perpetrators to book. I know it hurts to hear stories about how Simon Twe masterminded the death of Nathaniel Innes. These are statements that when you hear, you wonder whether they are true or not true. What good does it do when we all keep quiet about those people death? They have died. Okay, they died. They finished. They're gone. That's not the kind of society that some of us want to see. I want to see a society that is free, fair, transparent, a just society. When people kill people, those who committed the crime must be arrested and brought to book. That's the kind of society for which some of us sit on social media. It's not a good thing to see what is going on in Liberia. And we hope Liberia will get better. Ambassador McCarthy, you have done well. We monitor the United States Embassy's position, or the United States government position, on many issues that are unfolding in that country. But press freedom should not be curtailed, or no one should send a fear so that Diaspora Liberians can avoid the social media. Because doing that, you encourage the evildoers to continue to do evil in that country. If there's any attempt to allow or to instill fear in Diaspora Liberians to get on social media and discuss the issues unfolding in Liberia, people, worse things will happen, especially election time. Because you, ambassador, when you speak, people thinking, the ambassador has so much authority. We do not know what signal he will send to U.S. authorities on this side. So, as much, I'm not sure that any government, any officials, or any security apparatus in the U.S. going to just go run after people because they're on social media. But generally, people get afraid. So, if all diaspora Liberians now, especially U.S. ones, will get afraid, so let me leave the social media. Everybody decided to leave the social media because they be presumed as being instigating violence. That would be curtailing free speech. That would be suppressing freedom of expression. I don't think that's something that the Constitution of the United States government supports, neither the Constitution of Liberia. Article 50 of the Liberian Constitution clearly says that no one should curtail freedom of expression. And that's important. Take away all you can. Do not take away the voice of the people. Let us speak on the issues that are unfolding, those ugly behaviors that are unfolding in the country. Those who are in government, they are under obligation to do the just thing. Why would government officials go on the campus of the university? Because they want to challenge one another and show might. And then violence ensued. Will those officials be punished? Very likely not. Very likely not. But the students are being said as those who are making trouble on the university campus. So we think strongly that Liberia is a society that must be guarded. And I think some of you diplomats accredited to that country are doing well. You should continue to do what you're doing. But sometimes my opinion as a president is that even diplomats, when the truth should be told. Ambassador McCarthy's statement was generalized, and I think that was a mistake on his part. If you say diaspora Liberians are fomenting trouble, it means everyone here. When you get social media, it means people that are doing it because they want to see trouble in that country. Who will want to see war in the country when their children are there? Who will want to see war when their parents are there? Who will want to see war when their friends they love are in that country? I'm not sure. If people are thinking that way, well, that's something to talk about. But we think that society can be better when people are made to know that when they do wrong, they are told. That's what a good democratic society is all about. Upholding democratic values is what, in my opinion, two-way radio exists for. And so we're not going to stop because of being, if we are in the statement, we do not think that our existence here is to ensure that there's violence in Liberia. We don't have that in mind. Because guess what? If we sit here and instigate violence, we have children in Liberia. We have parents in Liberia. So if there's violence, we do not know where violence is going to start from. So there will be no reason why we would sit here and call for violence in that country. Because the moment we experience the war, those who died, some of them, I mean, could be alive today. There could be people that would have bettered their own lives. War is not good. I don't think any Liberian will ignore that. 15 years of war was not an easy thing, it was a bitter experience. Even those who didn't die, just to find food was an issue. So no one will support violence, Ambassador McCarthy. In the same vein, we will not keep quiet because that society needs to be one of those society that other African leaders will respect, as have been done in the past. Liberia is one of those foundational builders. Liberia helped to sign the Declaration of Independence for most of the African countries. Liberia still is not where Liberia is supposed to be. We see violence. We see undemocratic practices. We see killings in that country. We see people disrespecting the very constitution that exists, that brought them to power. And we think they should think twice and better our country and change the attitude that they are exhibiting. Lawmakers should be people of wisdom, people who will sit and look at the issues, people who people will run to. So when they themselves are the ones who are creating violence in the face of the U.S. Embassy, they should be told. And I think that's what we all do here. Get on social media and challenge those people who are in the country and are still doing the wrong things and think that they are doing something better for their country. We cannot pretend not to speak the truth to those people. Liberia must be better. And how Liberia gets better? One of the strongest instruments being used is the speech, the expressions of people negating or rejecting violence, speaking about the undemocratic practices that is existing or that are existing in the country, speaking truth to power. Those things are some of the ingredients or some of the tenets of democracy that should be upheld. So we're not going to sit and pretend people who are cowards, people who are not afraid to take a gun, to take a knife, to stab someone, people who are not afraid to pressing another person to death. Those persons don't need to be taken kind away from. This is where we sit. And we only hope that Mr. Ambassador McCarthy will bring more pressure to bear on those people. We're talking about elections. So you see, killing in the home of former Chief Justice, now the violence right at the University of Liberia campus. So these events, if you think of it in a critical sense, it's like people planting, because government should be thinking about resolving the conflict or bringing the book, the killer of Shala Musu, daughter of the former Chief Justice. So now they have directed the attention of that is now the University of Liberia. Everybody eyes now on the University of Liberia. We are almost forgetting the death of that young girl. Sooner or later, another thing will happen somewhere else. Forget about the University of Liberia campus. That's not a better society. And I don't think speaking of those things is in a way um, inviting violence. If people are thinking of violence, violence should have no place in a democratic society. But even in America that we find ourselves, there are people who go beyond look, people have to talk. Those expressions could just help to better that society. Even Ambassador McCarthy, your expressions help to build a society. We conscientize people. My only problem with Ambassador's statement is that the generalization. That's my problem. Likely, I mean, every democratic society, you have some people who just want to foment trouble. But Ambassador McCarthy has all of the resources to help Liberia, even if it is to expose some of those persons who are involved in this kind of ugly act. It doesn't help that society to be the way it is. Over 100 and plus years. We don't have safe drinking water. There's no electricity. The children don't have the better full meal per day. That is not a better society. And people sit on social media is because I want to see Liberian children getting the best they can. Let a child wake up in the morning, get a milk to drink, and get a corn cereal to eat. Like a child in America that can tell the mom and dad, I want a cereal. Mom, I want a cereal. I want a milk, glass of milk to drink. I want a solo juice. I want this. That's the society we all sit here and advocating for. A society where there will be a playground on a Saturday like this. The child will want to say, Mommy, I want to go play on the playground. That's a society we want to see in that country. A society where the mom will say, hey, I carry my children for education in the interior part, leave Monrovia for a while, and drive their children to other Batawi waterfall. Let the children see the beauty of their own country. That's a society we want to see in that country. Not a society where the very few will enjoy the resources and the vast majority keep suffering. Someone have to go and sell bitter balls. I don't know whether Ambassador McCarthy knows what bitter ball is. Kettle, how to buy those things. Sometimes you look at it, $5, it cannot even, if you sold 20 or 30 of those parts, you can't even get a meal for the day. We cannot ignore the suffering of the Liberian people, no matter where we find ourselves. And that's the only reason why we speak the way we speak, Ambassador. Not necessarily wanting war in that country. It also hurts if people are like helping to build a democratic society and they can be told that they are inviting violence in the country. The generalized statement, who knows? People monitor. I mean, this is social media, especially in the society we find ourselves. We being monitored every day. So should we all keep quiet? Because is my statement being seen as instigating violence in another country? That would send a fear to many other persons. So we just thought we could have this discussion. We might talk about this again. We want a peaceful society in that country. Because when that society is better, the taxpayers' money in the United States will be saved. Or other diaspora nations, Liberians who are working in those places, They might do more development back home. If those things don't happen, society fails. When society fails, people suffer. People suffer. People die. And sometimes it may just be someone that you love. Every time you turn around, you see somebody's been killed, somebody died, somebody got stroke, probably because they had no medical means. Those things are troubling. And that's the only reason why we all keep quiet. We all keep quiet. I could keep quiet. My time that I use on social media, I could use it to do something else. But how good is it? Like before the day closes, somebody call me. Can you help me with this? And you can't help. Sometimes somebody call is so urgent that you want to go against the will to help. Is that a society we all should keep quiet about? A young man at age 40 don't have any means to keep his own life going. Is that a society we keep quiet about? University students should come from work and go to school. Should have that means, that opportunity. But those opportunities don't exist. Should we be quiet? No, it's better to tell those who were elected, those who the people surrounded their rights to know that they have an obligation to better the society. And that's how we want to end today's program. We hope that Liberia can get better and that violence will not be a way to solve the problems in Liberia. We are frowning on violence. Social justice, advocating for social justice. Let it be a way that systemic crimes, killings, inequality will be handled in a more responsible way to make that society better. That's what we call for. That's what we sit here for. That society is better. We live from your qualification every time. Right? You go in the interior part. I want to go to some of the villages in there where you can go and enjoy better life. You would have had more Liberians traveling and going for vacation, building homes, doing businesses, and doing a lot in the country. But if you wake up in the morning, you hear somebody die, and there is no trace of who did the killing. And probably all those people that have died before that have been killed for whatever reason, you're never going to hear anything about that. In the circumstances, you cannot just sit and say, well, these people died natural death. And so that's what we sit for. That's what I think everybody gets on social media for. I want to be thankful to all of those creative individuals who created the different platforms and created the opportunity, the free space that support and buttress the First Amendment of the United States government, and of course the Article 15 of the Liberian Constitution. Freedom of expression, of religion. People should have that free choice to say what they want to say, to do what they want to do. And they also should be aware of the abuse thereof. I don't think people who are involved in social media discussion are not aware of the consequences of any action they take. And this is why we want to end today's program. And we hope that Liberians will begin to discuss issues as they unfold, irrespective of who it is. We'll do it in a civil way. We are Twitter Radio. We are a non-violent group of people, and we want to send that caveat. We are here because we want to ensure that there is equality, human rights, protection of lives and property. Fundamentally, the reason why people live. Why should someone take my life away from me? No matter my own stress, my own situation, my own problems, let me live and face those situations until my life ends. No one should take it away from me anyway, anyhow, because they feel they get a way they can sneak in and cut and say, what? We'll take his life away because we don't like him, because of the way he speaks. We are too ready. We want to see a better Liberia. We want to see people upholding the tenets of democracy. We want to see people respecting free speech. Don't curtail it. Don't send any signal that people will think, okay, you know what? They are the troublemakers. The preacher man said the troublemakers are the diaspora Liberians. As a Winker said that. Now it is Ambassador McCarthy who has said diaspora Liberians are instigating violence. So George Weah will sooner or later will hear in his speech, in some of his public statements, that diaspora Liberians are the ones who are fomenting trouble. Those who want to ensure that their government or their preference, whether wrong or whatever's like, they must keep existing. When a government is bad, the Constitution says that government should not be in power. Now, we are not saying people can't violate the Constitution, the very Constitution, the Liberian Constitution. So when the happiness of the people are not met, they have the freedom to change the government. Now, anyone reading that provision of the Constitution, you'll say, well, I can take guns, right? That's what we call for. To change the government, we support democratic means. Go to election, decide who you want. If it's somebody according to someone who says, yeah, get him out. That's what we at 2A will stand for. A free democratic space where people can make their decision freely, without intimidation, without fear. Don't kill people because you want to instill fear in them. So that when election day comes, people say, I'm going water. All right? So that's how we want to take our exit this morning. We just thought to have the quick broadcast. We expected Sokali Duo to have been our guest today, but for some reason, he could not. I'm sure he found it difficult to get connected. But until next time, we are here, and join us next time. We will be here to discuss more critical issues, and then you will hear from the voice's mouth.
We deliver the news to your door. Breaking news, top headlines, the big story, the latest update, and all you need to know are only available on the African Actions Network, 2A Radio and TV. The only